Now, the numerical designations for the intervals in the list we just looked at are based on the diatonic scale. There's a new pitch class on every line and every space. Diatonic means through the tones. So whenever you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, those are diatonic designations. Now, a scale is a way of getting from one pitch class to the next pitch class an octave higher. And there are many ways to construct a scale. Every culture has a different one. The one we'll be looking at most closely is the major scale, and it has this interval distribution. Notice that the diatonic scale beginning on C has no sharps or flats, and yet there are both whole steps and half steps in this scale. A major scale is always whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Now, if you look at that in sequence, it looks like it's asymmetrical, but if you look at it in groups of 4 notes, whole, whole, half, and then the next 4 notes, whole, whole, half, you see there's a symmetrical pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, whole, half. Many scales are like this. Now try to get this straight. The diatonic definition of an interval is a number. From C to D is always a second. Doesn't matter whether it's C sharp to D or C sharp to D sharp or C flat to D sharp. From C to D is a second. Notes that are next to each other on the staff line space is a second. C to E is always a third. Now we need to start talking about the quality of the intervals because obviously all seconds are not equal. We have our first of 4 quality designations is major and minor. Major just means big, which means 2. Here we have minor means small. Again, major means big, minor means little. This third from C, 1, 2, 3 half steps higher, is a minor third. From C, 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps higher is a major third. This is what I mean by you have to be able to compute the half steps. In order to identify an interval, you have to know how many half steps there are. And that's basic to figuring out everything else about music theory, naming the intervals that you're internalizing. For reasons I won't go into now, intervals of the 4th, 5th, and the octave are designated perfect if they have this right quality. For now, let's just remember that a perfect 4th is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half steps. Notes that are 5 half steps apart and are a 4th from C, D, E, F, or D, E, F, G. Those are perfect 4ths. Of the next few intervals. Our next interval is a 5th. From C, D, E, F, G, C, D, E, F, G. It's a 5th, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 half steps. The next, a 6th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, C, D, E, F, G, A. There are 2 types of 6th, major and minor. The minor 6th is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 half steps. And the major 6th is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 half steps. The next interval in our list is the 7th. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. That's a 7 notes. Minor 7th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 half steps. And the major 7th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 half steps. And the perfect octave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 half steps. Now, to complete our list of qualities of intervals, we have to add augmented and diminished. Augmented just means bigger, diminished means smaller. Always in music, this is by a half step. So, for instance, if we have a CG, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C to G is always a 5th no matter what, no matter whether it's C sharp to G or C to G sharp or whatever. C to G is 5 notes diatonically, so it's a 5th. However, if we write G flat, That's the wrong number of intervals for a fifth, but it's still a fifth. So in this case, it's a diminished fifth. Let's take a third. Here's C to E. That's a third, always a third, no matter whether it's C flat or C sharp or whatever. However, if we make this C to E sharp, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the same number of half steps as a fourth. But if it's C to E sharp, it's not a fourth, it's a third. So we have to call it an augmented third. Throughout this course, we will be talking about this goes on and on. Recognizing intervals, internalizing them, hopefully reproducing them. Why do we have to know intervals? Well, first off, we have to be able to see them and hear them in our imaginations off the page. But there's a bigger reason. I mean, melodies are made out of intervals. And for us to reproduce those melodies, we have to be able to reproduce them interval at a time. So, who knows what a melody is? It's some sort of unity. It's some sort of expression which hangs together and seems to have some kind of meaning. Maybe the meaning is a narrative meaning, like thus doth fate knock at the door. Maybe it's an abstract meaning. But our understanding of intervals, internalizing intervals, recognizing them, and being able to construct larger musical structures out of them is basic to musicianship.